What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's me, Kaz at the Bull, bringing you more Infinite Magicraid content, and it's a big one today. It's about the patch note and what they're implementing for all of us to enjoy in the game. Now, before we get into the video, I do need you to like, subscribe, and comment below to help the channel grow. I really appreciate all of your support, guys. So let's get into the patch notes. Let's see what's changed. Now, the biggest thing first to add is gonna be that multi-battle. We can now do Classic Arena. We can now do Advanced Arena, Guild Arena, whilst we are in multi-battle. This is fantastic because it's what people have been wanting for a while. Similar games have the same concept, and it's absolutely huge to us. There are quite a few other changes. They're going to change the name of Craft to Train. They're changing how some things view in the game. A lot of it isn't like huge. Another thing that's going to be pretty great is the fact that the limit of the regression potions in the weekly pack is changing from 1 attempt to 2 attempts, which is huge. They've optimized the display of hero attribute detail screen, optimized the weapon icon of first aid set, added a display of remaining sending and claiming attempts at the friend screen, quick claim and send. What's up, Jackek, East Coast, GWL, Vicky? How you doing? Optimize the fast tracking logic and the icons of adventure. They've also changed the rewards at the milestone so that you can auto quick claim. Obviously, we've seen Bailey. Yes, Bailey is it's Bailey. What's up, Bailey? So you can all thank Bailey for getting your rewards from this, and you can now quick claim them rather than single clicking each time. Now, we're going to get into what's actually important. Obviously, the biggest update in this is the fact that we can now do other things while we're in multi-battle. Arena, Advanced Arena, Brave Trial, and the Guild Arena. And, we can obviously do our heroes anyway, but it's definitely a big change to us and a very welcomed change. Now, let's talk about the hero adjustments. Solly hasn't had a very big change. Honestly, he hasn't. Let's go into gallery, search for legends. Here's Solly. Now, all they've changed is his exclusive. It was this one, exclusive level 3. They've changed it from it deducts his health by 15% of max health, grants ally immunity to this death, and restores the health by 30% of maximum health. When the ally protected by him takes fatal damage, this skill cannot be triggered when Solly's health is below 25%. So Solly obviously needs to be above 25%, and it can only be triggered once by the protected ally every turn. So it is nice. It's definitely an improvement on what there was before. And remember, it can only be triggered once each turn. So, it's protecting an ally from fatal damage, which is huge. And it will protect you a lot more. So if you're using Solly already and you've got an exclusive level 3, I think you'll be happy to see that change. I will say I've got a little gremlin right now making a bit of noise in the background. So if you do hear that, I apologize. I'm sure you don't mind. Let's have a look at Lutz. And Lutz has had a massive rework. He needed it. He did need it. His basic attack now, rather than dealing 160 and 240, he deals 200 and 260%. The change doesn't affect the chance to reduce their speed down by 20% for 2 turns. So that doesn't change. His passive skill is increased from 16 to 24%, and it's increased to 22% and 30%, which is massive. That's massive. That's a big change. It's an extra 6% of ignore defense. His active skill, Rune Imprisonment, rather than dealing 180% to 240%, it deals 220 to 280 of attack damage to all enemies, with 40% chance to reduce their speed by 20% for 2 turns, which is the same as before. However, it's a lot more damage, and it's a big increase of damage. It's an extra 60%. What else is there to add? His level 1 exclusive, rather than 8% leech, it's 10% leech, and the rate is increased to 20% when he attacks targets under speed down status. So you're going to want to focus, speed down status. Obviously, that's AoE, so if you can get that AoE, then great. His level 2, rather than increase self attack by 20% for 2 turns. Wait, this is the same. Oh no, that's when Rune Impact is released. Increase the self attack by 20% for 2 turns before cast. Okay. So it's before casting Rune Impact. So yeah, that needed to be done anyway. Level 3, this is no longer 10%, it's 20%. So it's a huge change to Lutz. Like an extra 20, that means he's going to be dealing 50% defense ignore. 50% defense ignore with his passive as well. So that's massive. Like it's, you know, Lutz you can look forward to using now, and rightly so, because he looks good, especially for an epic hero. I do like Lutz. I didn't like him before because he needed a rework. I'm glad that I said in my video, in my epic tier list, not to feed him, because now, you know, you'll be thankful that we said that, because you would have kept him, right? You would have all kept him. I'm hoping so. Let's have a look at Anna. Anna is, I believe, down at bottom. Yes, she is. Anna hasn't had a huge change. They changed her passive skill a bit, so her fire wave is no longer removed on her death, which is okay. If she's got some burns left, then that can be helpful. But what they did change is their exclusives a little bit. They've changed some of the order of them. So level 1 is now going to be Fire Strike. Level 2 is now going to be all allies with damage over time is increased by 20% when she's alive. And level 3 is something completely new, which is Phoenix Dance. Inflicts 1 layer of burn on enemy targets without burn for 2 turns and deals 100% more attack damage with destination damage for targets with burn. So that's a nice exclusive level 3. I think people that are using Anna that have her built currently will be thankful to see that. So that is helpful. Let's have a look at Aisha. Aisha, I really wish I had more news to give you, but she didn't get a big change. All they changed was her exclusives, and I feel like she needed a bit more. Level 1, it was triggered. It would cleanse all debuffs, but afterwards, its reincarnation will be triggered, and Aisha is immune to his death, and she takes fatal damage. Aisha cleanses all debuffs from self and grants self-resistance debuff for 1 turn when reincarnation is triggered. So it's not really changed a lot. What has changed is the fact that it's triggered when she takes fatal damage, and also she grants self-resistant debuff. Yeah. So that's that. Level 3 is scrap what is written here. It's going to be Beam of Flame, deals extra damage, caps at 300% of Aisha's attack by 10% of maximum health damage to enemy targets whose health are above 75%. So for enemies that are above 75%, it's going to be by 10% of the maximum health, I assume. It's a little bit confusing, that one. Let's have a look at her Beam of Flame. Deals 260 to 390. The damage caps at 300% of Aisha's attack at level 3 exclusive, we're looking at, remember. And by 10% of maximum health damage to enemy targets who are above 75%. I've got it. So she deals extra damage by 10% of maximum health. Damage to enemy targets whose health are above 75%. So the enemy has to be above 75%, and that damage caps at 300% of her attack. Now, Horus is getting a huge change, and everyone should be so hyped about Horus because he's going to become a single target god. His basic attack, Bloodthirsty Sickle, his skills have completely changed. So rather than this, it's now going to be deals 2 stages of 100% to 140% attack damage each to a single enemy. Inflicts inferior severe wound on the target for 2 turns if their health is below 50% after the damage is dealt. So the enemy has to be under 50% to inflict severe wound, and he's dealing some extra damage on top. So 100 to 140 to a single enemy, obviously 2 times. So that's a decent addition there, but it gets much better. His erosion, it now scraps the leech rate here. Afterwards, Horus additionally gains 32% to 48% of crit damage when his health is above 50%, which is a huge amount of crit damage. It's absolutely huge. And 16% to 24% leech rate when his health is no more than 50%. So if he's above, we can nuke, and if he's under, we heal. It's a really nice set. I really like that passive skill. Now, active skill, Storm of Crows. It was this prior. Afterwards, it deals 580% to 700% attack damage to a single enemy and inflicts severe wound on them for 2 turns. The lower the target's health is, the higher the damage this skill deals, up to 870 to 1050% attack damage. Just a huge single target nuker, just absolutely massive. That's a huge amount of damage, especially when we consider the likes of Lucifer with his attack damage. It's absolutely massive. Now, at exclusive level 1, Ancestral Power deals 60% more damage to a target whose health is below 50%. That is, I think it's his second skill. Yeah, so he's going to deal an extra 60% more damage to target whose health is below 50%, which is pretty large. Level 3, he has an additional 35% and removes the shield from the target before dealing damage, which is absolutely massive. He's not only ignoring 35% defense, he's removing the shield so we can nuke with that huge single target damage and ignoring 35% defense. It's just massive. It's just massive. It really is. It's massive. So Horus, you should all be hyped for. Valentine did not get much of a buff at all, and it's a little bit sad, but he is still going to be very nice, and he is already very good. He is already very good. What they did change was his exclusive, so this was Power Surge. Valentine cleanses all his debuffs when he enters the Power Surge form. He is also immune to control effects while in this form. So that's pretty huge because, if we consider Zia, where you can't, when she squats, you can control her, but now that's going to change, especially for Valentine as well. So if he's in Power Surge, it means that he can't be controlled, which is really nice. It did have it slightly here for one turn, but when he's in Power Surge, he's now getting all the time. Level 3 reduces the cooldown of Power Surge by 3 turns when Valentine is not in Power Surge form. Now that's going to be added on to this, okay? That's going to be kept, and then he's going to also get the 3 turns when Valentine is not in Power, so that's the cooldown reduction, which is super nice. It means that if he's in Power Surge form, he's going to be dealing a crazy amount of damage. Why is that not switching? Is that switching the skills? Alright, but that's Valentine is a great hero. And I think a lot of you will be happy to see that he has had a bit of a rework, just not huge. All right, it's just not huge. Gustav has had a big rework, and he is going to also be a huge addition to anyone's team now. Before it was consumes 15% of current health and deals 360% damage to a single enemy. It's now going to be additionally consumes 10% of current health and deals an extra 60% if Gustav's health is above 75% before casting this skill. This extra damage ignores the target's defense. So, you got 60% of damage here, ignoring defense, which is kind of nice. Remember, he does need to be above 75% health. Active skill, God of War is added. He is immune to damage over time while a madness status. Now, what this means is that Graal, the artifact dungeon, is going to become a pain in the ass because there is 2 Gustavs either side, or 1 either side. So you can't be nuking him down now with health burn, poison, bleeds, or whatever you're using to go through Graal. It's okay for me because I use 2 AoE DPS and 1 poison damage dealer for Graal. So it doesn't affect me hugely, but it's going to be tough for some of you. It's going to be tough if you're all focused on damage over times. Now, Boiling has had a bit of a rework, and it's actually pretty huge. It's, consumes self-health by 30% of current health and deals not 520 anymore, it's 720 to 840% attack damage. It's a massive buff. It's a massive buff to a single enemy, obviously. Additionally, consumes 10% of current health and deals an extra 90% attack damage if Gustav's health is above 75% before casting this skill. This extra damage ignores the target's defense, and this skill has an additional 30% leech. So, it's just nasty. But he's obviously you're gonna want him to have the health, but it's just such a nasty nuke. Now, we're going to talk about why it's so nasty in a moment as well, because we've added something else to make him pretty insane. Level 2 exclusive is Gustav immediately casts Boiling 1 extra time to the attacker when God of War is triggered. The skill cooldown of that is 6 turns, but you can just imagine casting Boiling twice with, say, 840% attack damage, ignoring some defense, and dealing an extra 90% attack damage if his health is above 75%. It's oh my goodness, it's pretty insane. Level 3, after extra damage, will be triggered when Gustav's health is above 50% before he casts Boiling. Boiling has an additional 45% when Gustav's health is no more than 50%. So the extra damage caps at 160% of Gustav's attack. It will be triggered when his health is above 50. Very similar to Horus when he casts Boiling. And it has an additional 45% leech when his health is no more than 50%. So he's going to be like a damage dealing and self-healing hero himself. It's just crazy. It's just a crazy change to some of these heroes. Horus, Gustav are absolute monsters now, in my opinion. They're absolute monsters now, in my opinion. We're going to see how much of monsters they are, but when we can test them. So if you have Horus and you have Gustav, please do use them because they are pretty fantastic. Okay, guys, that is it for the patch notes. Remember, they can possibly change before the patch hits. This is just a preview of the patch. I'm Kazan the Bull. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below to help the channel grow. I'll see you all very soon.